This is The Rome Show with your hosts, Andrew Romanella.
Regular people should be in the Olympics so you can see how actually hard what some of these people are doing are.
And Rocky Romanella.
Versus, hey, you can get to adjust the speed of the other person with their stick. And so that's where the skill improves. By the way, it's Tim Hortons Field. Guess the nickname of the stadium.
Is it coffee? No, I don't even know. What would it be?
The nickname is the Donut Box.
Yo,
Which is awesome.
That is good morning, Romo Sapiens, and welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio, Zingo TV, Channel 761, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter live. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I will be joined shortly by my brother, Rocky Romanella. A little bit of an insight right there in the open of the beautiful thoughts that go on here on The Rome Show. It is a beautiful Monday morning. The date is March 21st, and we have a lot to talk about. The NCAA tournament's about to turn the corner into the Sweet 16, and it has been, to say the least, very electric, very upset central, and I know Rocky's been divulged heavily into his bracket, so we're going to get his opinion on that. We have some turn up the volumes both from that tournament as well as the National Hockey League. We'll dive into some of the professional basketball variety, some crazy stuff going on in Major League Baseball, including Freddie Freeman's now at Dodgers. So if we don't talk about that, we're crazy. And the QB carousel continued in the National Football League, this time with Deshaun Watson heading somewhere that I don't think many expected him to head. So it is going to be a fantastic show at Wide World of Rome on Twitter and the Gram. If you want to get in on the action at this time, we add the very special, the one and the only Rocky Romanella to the show. Rocky, how we doing today?
Good morning, Mr. Romanella. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Mr. Romanella, I'm doing well. What's on top of the dome today?
Well, we've got a lot. First, I need to know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, good deal. I'm using a wired earphone.
Success.
Using a wired earphone connection this morning. Really excited about my NCAA tournament bracket. I am just amazed at the free agency moves by both Major League Baseball and the National Football League. It feels like it's a midseason trade deadline. And I'm sad because I didn't see any of the NASCAR race yesterday, and my goal was to try and see at least like a lap of every race this year, so already failed. And I'm juiced about the NHL, so that's how I'm feeling about sports.
I really like it, and I want to start with the tournament because I feel like, and I know they call it March Madness for this reason, right? The idea behind the whole thing is that starting with the conference tournaments all the way through the picking of the 68-team bracket to the start of the play-in games and to where we are now all the way through the beginning of April when the tournament ends. The idea is that you're supposed to see a lot of things that weren't expected, whether that's the St. Peter's Peacocks, number 15, beating a blue blood number 2 Kentucky, or that's them then taking that and beating Murray State and going to the Sweet 16. Maybe that's 11 seeds Iowa State and Michigan going to the Sweet 16, or UNC at 8, or Miami at 10. Those are all the things that are kind of expected, right? But then when it becomes a story in its own right, like St. Peter's, or the fact that it's Kentucky that lost, or that year Duke 15 lost to 2, when it becomes those big time upsets, the one time we ever saw a 16 beat a 1, UMBC over Virginia, when those things happen like they did this year, it feels to me, Rocky, like it's it all automatically becomes like a top tournament of mine and a favorite of mine because that just makes it that much more enjoyable for me.
It has been a fantastic tournament. It just from start to finish, it's been awesome. I just need to figure out why is the 12-5 the toughest game? Like 12-5 this year, like were I think the closest games.
I would have to agree with you. And historically, I feel like when I'm picking my bracket, which I do for free, everyone out there, just so you know, when I am picking my bracket, I like to always take at least 2 12-5 upsets because I feel like historically that's always been a game in the tournament where not you can predict an upset because I really feel like it's more of guessing, educated guesses on upsets because no one really knows. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about sports in general, but specifically this tournament. But every year, I feel like you're always going to pick a 12-5 upset if there's anything else you pick.
So here's the most confusing thing about the tournament. I don't want to get into this because I want to talk about the games. I'm pumped about my bracket. But 2 of the 4 12s won. Okay, so you had New Mexico State beat UConn, and you had Richmond beat Iowa. Here's the other thing I've got for you. All 4 number 11 seeds won, and a couple of them are still in. So you've got Iowa State, who beat LSU, and then they went and beat Wisconsin yesterday. You've got where'd my other 11 go? Right here. I had it right here. Oh, this is killing me. Hold on.
Iowa State beat
LSU. Notre Dame. That's right. Iowa State. Then you had Notre Dame. So I started with Iowa State. You have Michigan, who then beat Tennessee. You've got Notre Dame. They lost to Texas Tech. And then your only other 11 seed lost. Okay, so 3 of the 4, excuse me. And, like, my thing is, the reason I bring it up is Seton Hall gets waxed.
Thanks for showing up, Pirates.
And they're a number 9 seed, right? They get waxed, number 9 seed. And, like, it just seems like 11 and 12 are better than 8, 9, and 10.
Right.
Every year.
I would possibly agree with that. And then here's the argument I think that continues with it is that you have an 11 seed every year in the play-in first 4 games. And on paper, by number ranking, that makes absolutely no sense. Why would you have an 11 seed as the play? Why wouldn't the 16 seeds be the play-in teams, and then every seed after that gets automatically into the NCAA tournament? And I know that there's like some regional BS that's involved with it, and I did a little bit of research on it, and apparently like it's because technically those teams are ranked higher than the teams that are ranked lower than them, but they're in the play-in game because those teams most likely had won their conference tournament. But like a team like Notre Dame, who's in the ACC, or Rutgers, who's in the Big Ten, in theory would be a higher seed than those teams that won their mid-major conference tournament. So it's like some restitution. Well, you didn't win your conference tournament, so you're a play-in game, but you are better than this conference champion, so you're going to be ranked an 11 seed. It really makes no sense to me, honestly, Rock. Like, you should just either have the play-in games be non-conference championship teams across the board so it's known, or just make it all 16 seeds and move on with the rankings.
Yeah, it's just impossible to figure out. I mean, it's just impossible to figure out. I don't think that there's actually a science. I mean, think about it. Seton Hall is in the South bracket, and they're from the East, and they played in San Diego.
And let's be real. Let's be real with the fans here. As people that have, shall I say, expertise in this area after putting together a few years ago a phenomenal field of 64 bracket ourselves, I think, we have a little bit of an understanding on how this should operate. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we did a bang up job with the sports movie bracket.
Electric. We honestly, we have 360 some days till March starts again next year. We may have to think about revisiting something like that again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, I have 11 of 16 teams remaining.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
of the 5 teams that I did not pick that are in the Sweet 16,
Okay.
only one of them lost in the first round.
Okay. So I'm
So
going to
I'm
read
like
off
kind of pumped.
really quickly. I'm going to read off for the people at home, because I know a lot of times what happens here is like people pick their bracket, or they're watching all the games, and you start getting mad when you got teams that you chose to go deep losing. And there's probably a lot of less follow during round 2 headed into Sweet 16 than ever in the first round, because people are like mad. So I'm going to list off, Rocky, the Sweet 16 teams and their ranking remaining, and then you can kind of break down how you got there with your bracket and what your thought process is moving forward. So Gonzaga, number 1, plays Arkansas, number 4. Duke, number 2, plays Texas Tech, number 3. So that side of the bracket essentially operated exactly how it should be. That doesn't happen often. Then you get to the craziness. Number 8, North Carolina, will take on number 4, UCLA. And number 3, Purdue, will take on number 15, St. Peter's University. We'll dive into them in a minute. I got an audio from their head coach as well, which is awesome. Number 1, Arizona, will take on number 5, Houston. That's a fun team to watch, that Houston team. And number 11, wow, Michigan, fighting head coaches, will take on number 2, Villanova. Jay Wright and the boys almost blew that game yesterday to Ohio State, but they held on. And then number 1, Kansas versus number 4, Providence. And Rocky, to round it out, and this is quite possibly my most favorite matchup on the sheet, number 11, Iowa State, whoop, whoop, Cyclones, and number 10, Miami, also known as the U. That rounds out your Sweet 16.
I know. So that was my worst. That's my worst part of the bracket, is
Which
the
one?
Iowa-Miami.
Did you have either
Iowa
of those
State, Miami.
teams?
I had both Iowa State and Miami winning in the first round,
Okay.
and I had Wisconsin versus Iowa State. I had that matchup, and I had Miami versus Auburn. I just chose Auburn and Wisconsin.
See, I chose from the jump. I got the Iowa State one wrong, but from the jump I got the Miami one right, because I said it after the conference tournament, and obviously not to you, because that would have helped you way too much, and clearly I didn't help you in that light. But I said it after the conference tournament. I'm like, this Auburn team is sketchy, man. Like they were sketchy in the conference tournament. I'm always sketch about teams that have one and done guys, and if you look at that Miami roster,